Hi everybody. It is my warm recommendation to everybody to join the upcoming program with Mohanji in Shirdi from 16 to 18 December 2022. I have been to Shirdi 3 times so far. First time was with Mohanji, second time was with Mohanji, and third time was with my mother. I never planned or expected that I would connect to Sai Baba at any point in time, because when I met Mohanji, I knew this is it and he is my guru and this is the path that I want to follow. But spontaneously I visited Shirdi. Today I'll name 2 large miracles that happened to me there. First visit was a public program with Mohanji, and the second visit was with Mohanji and 3 more people, which was more like a private visit to Shirdi where Mohanji needed to sign some papers. So we all went with him together. At the time I was going through many emotional oscillations, ups and downs. The day after the night we arrived, Mohanji needed to go outside to sign the papers, and Madhu and Rajesh Kamat went along with him. Myself and another lady stayed behind in a hotel. Before leaving, Mohanji told me to sit in the room which was his room and to sit near his bed and to meditate. In the meantime, I fell asleep, and the friend who was with me was also there. She was meditating as well. While sleeping, a few times I felt the smell of cigarettes, as if somebody was smoking near me. I thought it was my imagination, so I just continued sleeping. Again, I woke up and I felt the smell of the cigarettes, but I ignored it again. And as I was sleeping, I glanced at the door of our room and I noticed they were open. That moment, I was absolutely sure that I closed that door, because normally I don't leave hotel rooms open like that, especially if I'm planning to meditate or sleep or have my private time. That never happens. I never leave the door open. But upon waking up in one moment, I saw the door was slightly open, not fully. So I ignored that too. I thought maybe maids were coming or they were cleaning. After waking up, I noticed that maids were not there because the room was not cleaned in any way. But I will come to that later. In one moment, I heard that Mohanji and the group is coming back. And the moment Mohanji entered the room, he asked who was smoking here. I said, I have no idea. I also felt the smell of smoke, but I have no idea. Nobody entered this room. I did notice that the room was open, but I cannot give any logical explanation to that. And he asked again, who was smoking here? And I said, I have no idea. And the lady who was with me also had no idea, because she was also meditating. None of us really invited anybody. No maids came in. As I said, there were no signs that anybody was cleaning the room. But as he was asking many times, the only explanation close to logical that I had in my mind was that maybe some of the maids were smokers and they didn't know where else to hide to smoke, because I suppose it's forbidden to smoke in the hotel. So they thought this room was empty and maybe they entered, had a cigarette and went outside. As I said, close to logical, it's not even logical at all, but that is what I tried to explain. Maybe that happened. And obviously nobody agreed with that, because it's not really something that happens in hotels. After Mohanji asked this a couple of times and we had no answer, finally he said, okay, it was Baba. He came to visit you because you were going through many emotional problems, and this is a sign. He left a sign for you that he was here. And I just couldn't imagine that something like this would even take place in my life ever. I was very touched and grateful. The second experience or a miracle that I had in Shirdi was when I was told by Mohanji during one of the public programs. It was a time when my mother also joined me in India. He told me and my mother that we need to visit certain places while we're together. He gave us a list. It was Shirdi, Puttaparthi, it was one Shiva temple in Pune, it was one Samadhi place in Pune as well, a place where one Saint Babajan left his or her body. I think the gender is not known so far. The fifth place that he suggested us to visit is Devyama in Bangalore. During our stay in Bangalore, we visited Devyama and Puttaparthi. But after coming to Pune, we started planning how to visit Shirdi as well. That was the only place pending. But we were noticing that we have no funds left to make this trip. We needed the funds to cover the expense of traveling and also staying there, because he suggested that we spend the night, not only go during the day, but also it's important to spend the night there. Because Baba really works on people while they sleep too. Many days passed by after our meeting with Mohanji. We were still in Pune, and me and my mother were doing Aarti one morning, and Mohanji Aarti. And I just glanced at the Shirdi Sai Baba Murti, a statue that was near Mohanji's picture on the altar. And I thought, when will this trip happen? I internally said to myself and to Baba, when will this trip take place? Because I see no way how we could manage this. We simply have no money at the moment. And in my heart, I felt that Baba is telling me this will happen, because when a master says something, that something needs to happen, it will happen. That day, that very day, I went outside with my mother, and I received a payment of 100 euros to my bank account. And nobody except my father has the details of that bank account. I called him immediately to ask whether he sent the money, and he said no, banks are not even working here in Serbia, because the time difference is a couple of hours. And I said, but who sent this? And he said, I have no idea, I didn't do that. So after a couple of hours, I received another payment of 100 euros. So my dad called me immediately, and he said, okay, now I sent you. So just so you know, I hope you can now cover some of the expenses there. I thanked him, but I was still wondering who sent the previous payment. And I was checking with my father again, and I understood it was not him. So it wasn't really crossing my mind that this could be Baba, because I was just looking for a logical explanation. Later, I checked again with my father whether he sent the payment, because I was wondering, okay, maybe somehow he sent this payment a few days ago and it's being received only now. But then he said, no, I sent you the last payment on that and that day, that and that date. And as soon as I sent you that payment, I called you and you told me you received it. So after each payment that he made while I was in India, he would always call me and ask me, okay, is it done? Have you received it? And I would always confirm. So there was no way that he would send money without calling immediately. This was the only unexplained payment that I had received. So I calculated all the expenses, and it turned out that the whole expense of our travel, our stay in the hotel, food, everything, it was 98 euros or something like that. It was just close to 100. And finally, me and my mother realized, okay, this is a miracle. This is not something that we could explain with our logical mind. So let's just go to Shirdi. So we booked everything and we went. It was a wonderful trip. I cannot even put in words how blessed we were. I really, really recommend it to everybody to join the program with Mohanji, because just like Sai Baba, Mohanji is omnipresent. I have been experiencing that for many years now. It's unexplainable how they work, and in Mohanji's physical presence, experience in Shirdi has a completely different dimension, because you're receiving guidances directly from Mohanji. You're being explained everything about Shirdi Sai Baba. You're being guided how to connect more deeply, how to receive much more than just visiting Shirdi on your own. I would say it's a full package, worth giving time for, giving resources for, giving everything for. I think this is a life-changing experience, being in Shirdi with Mohanji.